Hey, everybody. I had to reset my router connection because I was getting a bad connection again. So I'm like sitting here just looking at it like, okay, is it going to stick? Is it going to stick? I don't know. Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm so sorry that we missed last week, but I'm so very glad to be here. We are going to talk a little bit about some updates, and I did see there were questions in the Discord server. There were questions in our coven as well, and we will just kind of see how it goes. Every once in a while, I'm still getting this message, but at least you guys can know that we are moving. So that's kind of our big news. If you haven't seen the news yet, that we did purchase a house. So we bought a house and signed all the closing papers on Wednesday, but we will not be moving in until a little bit later. Actually, just a couple of weeks from now, we'll be moving in. So I will share a little bit more news about that. And hopefully we will have better internet there than I do with this particular computer. The crazy thing, somebody told me that they think maybe it's actually StreamYard and not my router, because we have, like, if I do a speed test on this computer, I have super fast high internet speeds right now. But for some reason, StreamYard is not connecting correctly. But if like I've got that message right now, and if it turns out that it's not going to let me have a good live stream with you guys, I'm going to see if I can connect on my phone instead. So just kind of let me know. You'll also notice that my voice is a little bit off. So we ended up last week canceling our live stream because the kids both had what we thought was a stomach bug. And it started out, as you would imagine, I won't go into details because it's gross, of a stomach bug. And so we had a couple nights with Andrew and Evie feeling pretty sick. And then starting like last Thursday night, George and I started feeling just kind of tired and run down. And we thought it's probably just because we've been up all night with the kids and, that'll be whatever. So Friday, we decided we were just going to take the day off and really just be as like chill as we can, let the kids recover. So, it's just one of those kind of things. So then what we ended up doing was on Saturday, we both started feeling much worse. And so George went in to get tested, and sure enough, he had COVID. And so all four of us had COVID. So that was not fun at all. And we are all very thankful that it is definitely very mild case for all of us. But I think the worst part of it has just been like kind of a head cold, and it's just sort of, the remnants of it, I guess. So we are definitely on the mend. We're all feeling better. We're all just kind of still getting a little bit extra rest. I feel like the kids are mostly feeling the same as normal, but Andrew's just having like a little bit more of a cough. Evie seems to be fine, except a little bit of runny nose. So it's been pretty mild, but also it's one of those weird things of like, you spend 2 years and take all these precautions to try to make sure that everybody stays healthy, and then it eventually comes into your life anyway. And so there's a lot of emotions that have sort of come up with that for sure. Partially guilt, because I feel like it's possible it's my fault for going out for my birthday. And it just was like, man, bad choices, I guess. But hopefully everybody's going to be okay, and it's going to be we're recovering one way or another. I'm going to see if I can switch this, just if I can get on my phone on StreamYard. Let me just see. Yes, I know that account exists. Thank you. So that if it keeps going in and out, I still have a way to connect with you guys. Just checking my email too to get my code. Some other exciting news that I was able to get finished is my Hansel and Gretel story is completed, and it turned out so good. I really think you guys are going to like it. Some of the admins for the Sarra Cannon Coven read it. So Kelly read it and Wendy got a chance to read it, and they both loved it. But of course they were like, okay, I wish that there was more story, which kind of ends up being the way it always is. I don't know if I enter broadcast on this phone, it's going to give me double. I'm going to be Sarah and Sarah too, just in case. I just want to be there just in case we end up with
a problem. Hold on.
Hold on. All
right. Okay.
Oh no. Hold on. So if we need to, oh darn. I wonder, I'm going to have to get a different double vision, I know. Okay, let's see if I can mute this over here. Okay. I'm trying to be on in two places and it won't. I actually have one of the mics off. Let me see if that works better. Okay, so just in case, it wouldn't let me turn my mic off on this on the phone, but we're here, so we've got it. So if this other one goes crazy, then we can have a second one that is available if need be. I'm going to remove the second Sarah away from it. So yeah, I had to stop the mic on both because it was still coming through my phone. But either way, we have it. So if this goes bad, we've got another choice there, just in case, double Sarah. I do actually want to kind of talk to you about, so first of all, that story, the anthology will be coming out. I think it's on February 15th, I think is the date that it comes out, but I need to go and look again. But it's called Once Upon a Bite. And this is an anthology that I've participated in many times over the year. It's just called Once Upon series. And we've had different themes throughout the years. And I haven't been in every single one of the anthologies, but I've been in several of them. So you guys are familiar with some of those stories. Red was in Once Upon a Kiss, I think. And Once Upon a Quest, I think, was my Loxley story, which some of you know. My story Venom is there. So you guys have seen some of those things for sure in terms of some of those stories that I've written. Now, I don't always feel like short stories are my number one best thing that I'm good at, because I like everything I write turns into wanting to be a big series, and I just tend to write bigger story worlds. And I am just really excited because I feel like this story turned out really well, but it also was something that I thought, oh man, I would love to write a series on this. So I hope that you guys enjoy this story. She gave us a deadline or a max word count of 8,000 words. And mine ended up being about 9,400 words. So I had to email her and say, can I still go a little bit over the word count? And she was fine with me going over because somebody else had to drop out. So it all worked out in the end. And I think the story turned out really, really good. And I hope you guys like it. It is a Hansel and Gretel with a vampire twist, and I think it's going to be really fun. So that story will be coming out. The anthology is already up for pre-order. It's called Once Upon a Bite, and I should have grabbed a cover for you guys to show you, but I will post that in the coven for you later. But I'm pretty excited about it. It just felt good to finish a story again, because I feel like the writing has been so much more difficult than I would have wanted it to be while we've been on the road. And I was talking to George a little bit about that, of like, I wonder why the writing, I expected when we got on the road and we were like traveling and going through all these other things that it would actually ignite my creativity a little bit more, and I would be more excited to write and get, be in these unusual settings and different houses and stuff like that. And it actually ended up being a lot the opposite, that writing has been a lot more difficult since we've been on the road. Part of it, I think, is because I don't have my own space. It's like I'm either been pulling out a little space in a corner somewhere, or a little, been writing on the kitchen table or something like that. I haven't had my own like space in terms of my office and my own creativity surrounded my own things. And I think that has made it a little bit more difficult for me to be writing, but I am definitely excited about getting into our brand new house and having my own space. I was telling some of my admins for the Heart Breathing's Word Sprint community that it's going to seem a little bit extra, but I think I am going to take over 2 different rooms in the new house. So this was going to be the way it was in the house that we were building in Charleston too. There was like a formal living or a formal dining room in the front of the house and an office. And I was going to take over both of those sections so that I could have one room that was very much like a, craft room with, all of my like video stuff and everything set up there, and then have another office that was more like my actual like business work office space. And so in the new house, we don't have a formal dining room space, but there is a 4th bedroom downstairs, and it is like a full size bedroom with a full bathroom and a big closet and everything else. So I think I'm going to commandeer both of those spaces for myself. And I did, of course, go through it with George. Like, are you okay with that? Because we do also have a huge, game room space as well that'll be upstairs. And that space is like just a blank canvas. So it's really a neat thing that we're going to get to have that much space, because we're going to get I think we're going to cover, there's a couple of windows in that room, and I think we're going to cover the windows completely to make it kind of like a movie theater / computer gaming space. So that'll be George's main like office space, and that'll be really sweet, I think. So that'll be neat. And I do agree with that, LA. So I think it'll be neat to have that bathroom. Plus, I've been kind of mentioning it a few times here and there that I think I do often write really well when I get a chance to go away for like a writing retreat type feel. And I was thinking if I could put a couch in that room, or even just like a day bed type deal, then maybe I could have kind of like writing retreats at home in our own space. Like that could be my own like writing retreat, like inside the house, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I'm excited to play around with it. But again, we don't get into the house for another 2 weeks just because the previous owners have 5 horses and they need a little bit more time. They are actually moving to a place that has like 30 acres of land for themselves so they can get more horses. And they are super, super sweet people. I got a chance to talk to the woman of the house, and we had just the best time. And she did send me a photo the night that we closed on the house that was her kind of back standing by the road taking a photo of the house. And I wanted to show it to you guys, but I also kind of wanted to talk about that just a little bit, because I know that anytime I have shared stuff about the house, I get people that will say, I sometimes I feel like it's a fine line between saying they're being protective of me and some people being angry with me for some strange reason. But I know that there has been a lot of talk between us here in the coffee chats and stuff about privacy and wanting to make sure that like our family is safe and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of address it just to sort of get it off my chest a little bit. I think that in the end, everybody who decides to have any type of presence online, like you share stuff on your Instagram, you share things in your stories, and especially if you're authors and you actually are sharing things with your fans and different stuff like that, it's a very personal decision as to how much you choose to share. And I know that there are a lot of people who have very different viewpoints on this than I do and share a lot less than I do, and that's totally fine. Some people get really nervous when people like me share photos of my children or I share them with you guys on live streams. Some people get really nervous if I share a picture of the house or talk about where we're going to be because, oh my gosh, people are going to figure out where we live. And the truth is, George and I have talked about this a lot, not only when I first started sharing some of our lives and we had a child and it was like, oh my gosh, how much of this are we going to share? And trying to make those decisions. But I feel like it is in my nature to share. I have always been a sharing kind of person. Like, I, even just in conversations, I've always been the person that sort of overshares or tells my whole life story if it seems like it resonates with somebody. And I just don't hold a lot of things back. And so it feels very authentic to like try to be secretive or hold things back too much. And so I don't like doing it. It's not in my nature. But if you disagree and you think that I shouldn't be sharing so much, that's okay too. But it's my choice, and it's also your choice how much you want to share with people. I had kind of an awakening a few years back when I realized that pretty much everything becomes public record. So, celebrities to some degree do try to hide. Yeah. Beyonce, it's like when you have $1 billion or something, maybe you can get a little bit more done when it comes to that. And there sometimes are ways that you can petition, depending on what state you live in, to keep your stuff out of public record. A lot of celebrities will go to the point of like creating businesses and LLCs and different things like that to try to hide themselves and, other things like that. But it's like, at the level that I am at, I don't think it's worth like trying to start a specific LLC. And even then, like I was reading that Drew Barrymore was buying a house in the Hamptons and she used an LLC, and people still knew it was her because her neighbors saw her there and they reported it to the news. And so there was no privacy there anyway. But basically I just, George and I were talking about it. Because when I had shared, I think it was like towards the beginning of this journey of us finding this house, I actually had somebody email me after that coffee chat and say, I found your house very easily and here's a link to it. And it was just kind of like, I was even trying to not show the front of the house, trying to not talk too much about it, and somebody still found it anyway. And now that the papers are signed and things like that, people are going to find it. It's like, if you really are that determined to find out how much I spent on my house or where I live or whatever, then so be it, I guess. But I don't want to live my life like being afraid of somebody that might come after me, because I don't think it's like an everyday thing that we hear that, somebody, random YouTuber on the internet had someone, come after them in their house. I feel like, I eventually would love to do writing retreats in our town and invite people over to my house and have writer friends over at my house. And I just don't like, after being assaulted, I had to make this choice when I decided to self-publish my books. This was back in 2010 when I first had that. I had to make a choice. Do I want to use my maiden name? Do I want to use a pen name and try to hide? Because I had this thought of like, what if that guy that I ended up sending to prison sees that I'm successful someday and wants to take it out on me? And do I want to protect myself from it if he decided to come after me? That was like part of my thoughts back in those days. And in the end, George and I just made a decision that we just weren't going to live in fear for the rest of our lives. And I wanted to use my name that I had always used, and that is what I was going to do. Yes, Jennifer, exactly. It's like privacy doesn't exist. And I kind of went through a bunch of thoughts. We talked about it as a family. And so I just wanted to let you know that if you have sent me messages of concern and you think that I should pull things down, or whatever, then I completely respect your opinion. And I am grateful that you have been concerned for me. But I will just also say that we have made a decision that I'm not going to just put my address up here on the screen or anything like that. But I'm also not going to try to like not show the house, not show photos of us moving into the house. I'm not going to like not show pictures of my family or my kids. And I'm just not going to worry about those people that might, whatever. We have a security system. We'll get beefier security system if we need to. But I feel like the majority of people that watch my channel care about me and they're not trying to come after me. So that's just something I'll get out of the way. But I had shared some photos previously that were like photos that were on the real estate listing, which are things that you can, if you want to go through the time, go through and search through real estate listings and find photos of my house. But the photo that she sent is a photo that is nowhere online. So other than what I'm about to share. So I figured I would share it with you guys just because I know several of you were asking to see more about the house. So I was going to share it with you real quick. But this photo made me cry. Like I literally just started sobbing when she sent it because, let me put it up on a screen share. Because she sent me this beautiful photo. So this was the night of the closing, and this was after the banks, there's like, once you sign the papers, there's multiple things that have to happen. And one of them is that, the owner has to sign the papers. And because we have COVID, we had to all do it all more like virtually instead of all getting in the same room and everything. And so then it was like all the paperwork had to be signed and notarized, and it was going back and forth and stuff like that. So once they got the word that all the official like paperwork was signed, she walked out to the edge of the street and took a photo and said, "Officially yours." And when I saw that text message from her, I just started crying because I feel like it has been such a journey for us to get to this point of like, oh my gosh, we thought that our lives were going to be in Charleston, and we were so excited for that life in Charleston, and we tried so hard to make it work. Like when we first tried to move to Charleston, we were mostly wanting to get down there right away because Andrew was about to start kindergarten, and we wanted him to go to a specific school down there, and we were very excited to get him in. But it was like, oh my gosh, we have to sell our house faster, and it's not selling. And it was like, just as soon as we put that house on the market where we were living in South Carolina, we were living in Columbia, it was like the market went totally dead, and we didn't get a single showing, and we were starting to panic. And I know some of you actually have followed Denise Duffield Thomas, who is a money mindset coach that I've worked with since 2016. I posted something about this, not in the big money boot camp group, but I'm also in a smaller group with her. And I had said something about like, how do I manifest getting this house sold when we don't have enough time? Like I'm starting to panic, all of this stuff. And her advice to me was, stop feeling like you have to be in control or like what it's going to look like when you want to move to Charleston. Like maybe it's not going to look exactly the way you think. Like you're so set on this exact thing of this house has to sell. We have to find another house to buy. We have all these other things like, stop trying to control it and instead just open it up to the universe and say, I'm open to creative solutions. I just want to get to Charleston, and we'll be happy however we can get there. And the other thing that was on my mind at the time was that my dream was to have a view of the marsh or be close to the ocean. And it was like, there was no way we were going to afford a Charleston house on the marsh close to the ocean. That just wasn't going to happen. And so I just sat down and I wrote this thing in my journal. So I saw some people asking about journaling, so we'll talk about that a little bit today too. So I wrote down in my journal, I am open to creative solutions for how we get to Charleston. And I release any type of ideas about how I'm going to try to control this. I will just let it up to the universe. Let me know what you think is right. And I'm 100% open to creative solutions, however this can look. And what ended up happening, literally the very next day, I get a phone call from our realtor saying, the market is so dead, but I did get somebody that was driving by your house that would love to rent it for 3 years. Would you be willing to rent your house out for 3 years? And it was something that had not even occurred to me. And it was like, all I had to do was let go of my pre-imagined ideas of how this had to go and just say, I want creative solution. And sure enough, this family was a military family coming into Columbia for 3 years. They needed a place. This house was exactly what they had been looking for. They offered us a great amount of money on rent. And within 24 hours, I had found a new place for us to rent in Charleston, got Andrew enrolled in that school, and we were moving to Charleston. And lo and behold, the place that we were renting had a marsh view and was 2 miles from the ocean. And it was not what we had expected, because I had not expected to be renting. I thought we were going to be buying a house. And it's like this big journey of that to another house in Charleston, building a house, thinking this is where we were going to be. Literally, we were in 5 years in Charleston, renting and trying to find a house. And when it all fell apart, I just was sitting there thinking, this is another one of those situations where my intuition, some higher part of me is saying, you got to be open to creative solutions. And it's like, having this house now, which is so much better even than the house we were building in Charleston, because now we have 5 acres of land. We have, we're near such a huge city. So by the way, because I hadn't mentioned it before, though some of you had figured it out from some of the stores that I said I was shopping in, we will be living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area of Texas, which I'm very excited about. And it was really, really fun because on the day that we closed on Wednesday, I posted something on my Facebook page, and so many authors reached out to me that are friends of mine that I didn't even know live in Dallas area. So it's like, there's going to be so many friends and people to hang out with, and writers that I can hang out with, and groups to join and stuff like that. Once we get more into everybody being safe to be out and about. So yes, the Christmas decorations, the Christmas lights, like just the neighborhoods, is so many things. It falls together. And I think that it's really, really going to be amazing. And, when we walked out in the backyard of that, like the one thing that I had really, really wanted after this trip, because the kids ended up using the pools, every like Airbnb that we had a pool, the kids loved it. I was like, really want to buy a house that has a pool. And this house does not have a pool. But when the previous owner was walking me through the virtual walkthrough or whatever, she said they purposely were planning to put a pool in the back, so there's no pipes or anything that's going to be in the way. It's like all set up for a pool. So whenever we get to that point, yes, and there will be chickens. Hopefully there will be a garden. I'm going to have a definite witchy garden, and I've already got some hookups of people locally that have their own witchy, like herb gardens and flower gardens, that know like exactly what grows here in this area and what to walk out for and all of that. So I just feel like, and if you guys, I mean, the one of the biggest things about this house is the light. There are 3 huge sets of windows in this house, and it's just like the amount of light just gives me life. And I'm just so excited because I have a very peaceful feeling about this house, that we're going to move in and we are going to just have great joy and happiness there. And I do feel like we're going to thrive. We're going to flourish. We're going to, I had some people say they were trying, I think Angela was at you, was like, I'm trying not to use the word thrive because obviously my course name. But I do feel like we're going to just really, really fall in love with this place. And I cannot wait to move in. So we will be moving in 2 weeks from today. So I probably will not do a coffee chat that day. But what I might be able to do is during, like when we go into the house that day, when it's totally empty, I'm going to do an empty house tour where I will record a video for you guys, and I will upload that here to YouTube, because I know a lot of people want to see it. So it'll be, yeah, I thought it was you, Angela, which made me smile. I will show you a full, like totally empty house tour of the inside of the house, and then slowly but surely we will get it furnished, because it's pretty funny how few things we actually own at this point. We don't have a couch, we don't have beds for the kids, we don't have pots and pans, we have nothing. So we're going to be very excited to make it our own, like bit by bit, but we might be like sitting on pillows for a little while. So it's just going to take time. LA, I am so excited to get this pod back. Like, I don't even know for sure what's all in it, except that I know my furniture is in it for my office. And I know that all of my planners are in it, but it's like, what else is in there? I don't know. My weighted blanket is in there. I definitely want that. So yeah, we will definitely share that with you guys as we go. It's going to be, Starla, it's going to be kind of like an indoor camping for a little bit, which I think is going to be super fun. So good question. Maya says, will the kids be going to school once you move in? So we've talked to Andrew about that. Do you want to go to school right when we move in, or do you want to wait until the new year begins and keep homeschooling? And right now he's kind of gone back and forth, and he kind of feels like he wants to just say staying at home to homeschool for the rest of the school year. But it's very exciting because I found out from the previous owner that there are actually kids that are exactly Andrew's age and grade, like in school, that are on both sides of our house. Like both sides of neighbors are exactly his age. So that's going to be really, really fun for him, I think. And he's very excited about it. Another thing that I wanted to talk about, because I saw we do have questions in the covenant stuff, so I want to bring that up. But some people said, can we talk about like journaling and manifesting? So I wanted to share, I had told you guys, I think towards the end of the year, I had bought this little fluorite bowl, which is mostly purple, but it has a little bit of green to it. And I set it up at the beginning of the year, or like on New Year's, as a little bit of a money bowl. So what I have in here is a green aventurine, which can often be like success and manifestation. I have some cinnamon in here, just like a little piece of cinnamon. And I have coins, so mostly quarters in here. And I've been adding to it and taking away from it, like pretty much on a daily basis. I'll pull a quarter out, I'll put a quarter in, I'll put a little bit of cinnamon in. I have this little note here that I wrote on New Year's Eve of some of the things that we wanted to manifest in our life this year. Not only the amount of income that I want to make this year, but the impact I want to make in the world this year. And that I really, really wanted us to find our dream home. So inside this little, it's just a piece of notebook paper. I have a piece of pyrite and just a plain white, like clear quartz. And then on the paper, I wrote those things that I wanted to bring into our lives. When we started really thinking, like when we found this house towards the beginning of the year, I also added a key to this little bowl and just added it in there because I wanted to keep that manifesting going. Okay, we're looking for whatever roads have to open, whatever doors need to open to make sure that we get this house. Let's make that happen. Then the day that we signed the contract on the house and I started going into like underwriting and everything for this loan, I took a $20 bill and I took a little piece of pyrite, which some of you may know as like fool's gold. And I just put it inside the money and wrapped it up and said a little blessing of like, we are so abundant. We are so wealthy. It's going to be no problem to afford this loan. We're going to get approved really easily. And we're going to, fly through this, no problem. And I put that in the bowl as well. And it's like almost over full. But I do feel like whether or not, you can believe in that magic or anything else, I feel like there is a magic of constantly feeding that belief that everything's going to work out. So every time, like I kept this on my windowsill above my little desk in the other room. And every day I would add something to it, take something out, and I would just have like this happy feeling in my heart that this is going to work out. And so anytime I would start to feel the doubts of like, oh my gosh, they're asking me for 5 more documents and now I have to provide this other thing and now I have to prove where this income's coming from and all of these other things, it just became this very big thing of like, it says there's one person listening, hopefully. My count of number of people on the live stream just went down to 1. So hopefully that's not true. Oh, now it's back up to 180. But yes, it's like adding, anytime I started to feel doubt about it and all the things that they were asking for, like, oh my gosh, now I have to do a profit and loss statement. Now I have to do, it's just, if you've ever been self-published or single employed, like self-employed income, they want like 1,000 other things from you than just like a W-9 or W-2s or whatever else. So it was an intensive process to get through all the underwriting and everything else. So it was a journey, but we made it through. We have officially, bought our home. Then the other thing is when we made it to, we were almost through that process, and I had a few doubtful moments, and I just wanted to feel really good. And it was my birthday, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do something a little bit extra. And what I did was I just had this little red, it's really just like a little bag that I had gotten from one of the shops in New Orleans. And in this bag, I put another little note that was basically just like talking about, like, please let everything that we're hoping for, let it work out for the way that it's meant to be. And I tried to let go of it being like it has to be this house or it has to be a certain way. And I just went back to that idea from Denise Duffield Thomas of saying, like, let this just be the way that it needs to be. And if this is our house, then let it come to us with ease. And so I filled this little bag with, again, another key. I feel like keys can be super powerful in terms of just a symbol to show that you are ready to open that door. Another thing that was interesting is that when Tanya, that you guys know I love Tanya, she read my yearly tarot cards, and my January card was the 5 of Pentacles. And in that card, in the Light Seers Tarot, I wish I had the deck with me right here, there is a door, and there's a girl kind of crying in front of the door, but resting up against the door is the key to open that door. And that was like, I used that symbol a lot in the month of January because it was really a strong message, I felt like, to me, to say, you're the one holding yourself back. You're the one that is worried or, scared that things aren't going to work out, or, holding on to these old stories from your past. And it is your choice now to stand up, pick up that key, and just move forward, put it in the door and go, go, go. And I feel like we do come across these moments in our lives where it's like, it really is a choice. Do I want to sit here and get upset about what hasn't come through, where we haven't been, things like that? Or do I want to just say, I am ready to move on to the next step. I am ready for this house to come through, for all our dreams to come true, and I'm not going to let anything stand in my way. And so that key was a big moment for me. I also had a few other stones that I put in here, and it's like little herbs, like there's a black onyx, there's an amethyst in here, there's red calcite, and there's a clear quartz, and then there's a bunch of little flowers in here. And I basically just created this with a big intention on my birthday of, I am ready to pick up the key and open up the door to the future. And that future is going to be our new house and our new lives there. And so I'm very grateful for this little pouch, but sometimes it can be just something simple like a little bowl or a little pouch. And some of you asked about journaling. So I can't remember if I showed you guys this before or not, but this one says, write your own story. It has kind of like a fake leather feel to it. And I had my name embossed here. And I think I did show this to you guys and put a link, but I can post a link for you again. This one I got from a shop in the UK, and I have been journaling in this pretty consistently. And I feel like this has been really helpful to me. And one of the sort of rules that I'm following in this particular journal, yeah, Maya, thank you for that. I was pretty sure I had seen it. And I think I did post a link somewhere, but I'll see if I can find it again. It's called something like I can't remember, but she has them in gray and in this sort of blush color. And I like this paper, and I like the length of this page. And my real goal with this one has just been to only write in here the things that I want to manifest, the things that I'm feeling good about, the things that I'm feeling hopeful about, instead of using it as, because sometimes I've found in the past that if I allow myself to, my journals can become all about my complaining in a way. And So what I try to make a point of is I'm not going to complain. This is going to be the things that I'm hopeful about, the things that I'm excited about. And then when I sit down and I do those journals of the excitement of how I'm ready for what's coming next and how I'm excited for the future and here's what I want to manifest in my life, then I get really, really excited. And I always leave my journaling session feeling happy and hopeful. Whereas if I allow myself to really indulge in complaining and getting, like, some people will recommend that you just get all your negativity and your thoughts out, and that can be cathartic too. But I just find that it tends to make me feel more hopeless if I focus on those things when I'm journaling. Allie says, silly question, but where did you get all those keys? So both of those keys that I had, I bought from those witchy shops in New Orleans. But you can use any key too. You can use like an old key for one of your old cars, anything like that. You can also go to places like, I don't know if you have it, Ale, where you are, but like places like Michael's will sometimes have like little bags of keys. They can be plastic. They don't have to have any kind of specialness to them. It's more of just a symbol. So you could probably find a bag of keys on Amazon, something like that. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. Another thing that I love to do for those of you that are interested in journaling in a way that helps you to manifest the things that you want. So Seeking My Crafty Tribe says, are you talking about scripting in that journal? So in that journal, I don't do scripting. So scripting is more when you say like, as if it's already happened, or if this is your life, like we've moved into the house now and things are great, like as if you're writing from the future. I'm not doing that in this one. I have done that in the past, but this one is just one of saying things like, I recognize that I am in a transitional period in my life, and these are the things that I want to embrace, and these are the things I want to let go of. And when I think about embracing this part of my future, here's what I think that looks like. Like, if I were to make this much money a year, here's how I would spend it, and here's the charities that I would give to, and here's the type of impact I want to make on my audience, and here's the kind of mother I want to be to my children. So it's not really scripting, but it's just like writing about the things that I want my life to be in a positive way. And this is another way that I do it. So this is my iPad. And one of the reasons I like to do it in my iPad is because I can add pictures to it super easily without having to like print photos out. So this is Goodnotes, and I love it. And so what I will do, so you can see, I don't know if you can read that, but it says who I am meant to be. So I have this kind of running journal here called Who I Am Meant to Be. And I will include photos of myself. I will also include some of these little icons like the weight or the like the little hand weights and stuff like that. This is obviously before we knew what our house would look like, but I had like a house. I have a pool back there. I have a little puppy here because I want to get a puppy. So Goodnotes is an app that you can get on any like iPad or iPhone type device, and it works really well with an Apple Pencil. And it's basically just a notebook app, but you can easily add photos and things like that to it. So I tend to just journal about the things that I mostly want to bring into my life. I'll put pictures of myself, pictures of the kids, and I'll say things like, Andrew and Evie love each other and they have each other's backs. They're going to grow up really healthy and well-rounded and appreciative of what they have. I hope that I can give them a truly happy and healthy family, childhood. So things like that. I just like to write those. So that's kind of more like scripting what I do in here. Like I say, I am a wealthy woman. I do what I love, and I am building an incredible team of amazing people who are in this with me, things like that. So that's a little bit more like scripting what I do in this particular journal. But if you've been really wanting to manifest those kinds of things in your life, I highly, highly recommend getting some kind of journal that you can sit and write on a daily basis or just whenever you feel like it, and really indulge yourself in the types of thoughts that make you feel really good and say, there are no limits. Anything is possible. And yes, Mary, so that is another, I should have mentioned that, but yes, you did notice that. So we were supposed to close on the 3rd. and they moved it forward because of the weather. So Texas had there's still snow on the ground here in the Dallas area. It was really pretty crazy. It was really neat. And they were pretty sure that it was going to be a little bit more dangerous to be running around on the 3rd. So they moved it to the 2nd. So it ended up being 2/2/22. And Tanya sent me a message the morning of saying this, it was this little thing. She might have posted this on her Instagram that says 2/2/22 and 2/22/22 coming up is a portal. In numerology, the number 2 symbolizes union and peace between different entities. It represents harmony, balance, and choices. These dates are powerful portals of opportunity for you to come to terms with the past and move on from it. It's time to forgive yourself for any mistakes and lay them to rest. It's time to cultivate quiet and peace within. And that just meant so much to me on the day, because I felt like, it is kind of a coming together of 2 different things for me in my life, of like this journey that we've been on, but this desire now for peace. And so I felt that very strongly, of like, it was meant to be that we were going to sign those papers on 2/2/22, because it was a portal to a new life of peace for us. And I really, really felt that pretty strongly. I do feel like numbers have significance. And I've mentioned to you guys before that there were some signs that that house in Charleston was not going to be right because of the house numbers of that house. And so I just think that sometimes we need to listen to those whispers for sure. And it can be very important. And I'm sorry, it's like, okay, we're at 3:48 my time, and I'm just now going into the coven to find the questions, but I think I've answered some of them. Okay, so yeah, so mostly there weren't any questions there. Let me check in the Discord. Mostly saying, can we talk about manifesting? And I just love it. I feel like so much of manifesting, there's, some people will think that manifesting is just about like the happy things and like thinking through the things that you want. But like to me, one of the biggest parts of manifesting is not just the deciding of what you want, because that's a big part of it. That's usually what I'm doing when I'm journaling in the iPad and stuff like that, is it's really exploring, how does this life feel? What is it I want? Because I'm a firm believer that we can create our reality. That you can decide what you want and you can bring it into being. It may take 10 years to get here with tiny little changes or massive shifts along the way, but it can happen. But I also feel like a big part of it is really listening and paying attention when things line up, so that you can say, it was meant to be. Like when we went to look at a couple of other houses, and they were just not quite right. And when I walked into that second house, I told our realtor, I was like, this just isn't what I'm looking for. And so it sent me back to this other house that I wasn't originally looking at as much because it didn't have a pool. And then I started looking at it. I'm like, this is literally everything we've been looking for. We need to go look at it and go see it as a family. And when we were getting ready to get up that morning to go see the house, I said to the universe, just give me some kind of dragonfly. And you guys know that it had that little dragonfly symbol in there. So it's the knowing what you want. It's the believing that you can get there and not, holding yourself back from it. But then it's also like taking action on it. When you see that this isn't right, you don't settle for it. You move to the next thing. You listen to those whispers in your life that say, this is what's right for you. Go here. It's like, even when I was younger and I was teaching elementary school, it's like, I had a good life. I was making good money. I had, on the outside, on paper, I had what looked to be a good life, but it's like, I could hear it in my own soul. Like, this is not who you were meant to be. And that's part of why I label that journal who I am meant to be, because I feel like deep down, what you're meant to be. And the longer you ignore that and you don't go after it, the more you will start to feel that in your life, that it's like, oh, this is just not who I was meant to be. Okay, there's questions in the Discord for sure. I'm going to try to answer some of these before we go. So Ale said, I've been trying to plot my novel, but I find it hard. Most details come to me as I'm writing. How much plotting do you do in advance? For instance, I was watching and reading the plotting videos about deep, dark secrets. Did you decide everything you write in the plotting worksheets before you started writing it? Thank you. So I will say about this, so kind of switching, a little bit to some questions, that it's okay to not have everything figured out ahead of time when it comes to your writing. Like, I typically do know those major turning points, but I didn't know who the bad guy was in that book until I got closer to the end. Oh, hi, baby girl. Are you waking up? You want to come say hi? You want to come say hi to everybody? She's still in her PJs. You want to come say hi? Yeah. So I think that it's fine to have a mix of what you know and what you don't know yet. So if you find, Ollie, that like your ideas tend to come as you're writing, then just follow that. Like, get to know as much as you can in the beginning and then just start writing and it will come to you. But don't judge your process. I very rarely know almost like just those big major turning points, and then I have to replot and replot and replot. But some people know every little tiny detail and some people know nothing at all. So you want to get up here so they can see you?
No.
She said no.
No. Yeah.
Oh, are you meowing because you're a kitty cat?
No.
Yeah, she's a sweet girl.
No.
She's just getting up from her nap.
No.
My sweet baby girl. But yeah, I definitely do not decide everything on those plotting sheets. Usually I'll know everything in that first act, and then I'll know what's the midpoint, and I'll know kind of in a very rough idea of what is the final scene's going to be, but it always changes, always changes. Halima says, you mentioned previously about creating another course for writers that haven't written a book yet, like for those of us who are interested in writing but not ready for Publish and Thrive yet. More of a where to get started from an idea to actually writing a book. I know you've been moving and traveling last year and this month, but however, now that you're putting down roots, do you think the course will be out later this year? Congratulations on the new house. Thank you so much. I have definitely had a lot of requests and thoughts of doing a sort of like taking that how to plot your novel idea and going much deeper into it, like how to actually finish your book, how to choose which idea you want to, like how to choose which of your ideas is the like best one for you, and whether it's big enough to write a series, is it original enough, and then how do you develop that from, because I've had a few videos on this, but it's just like there's so much more to say. Like, it would be so great to have a full course on how to go from idea to developing it into a full-length novel. So I do have plans for this, and if I do that course, it will be a much more affordable course, like less than probably $100 course, I think, to get started. And then I also, like, if I really get a chance to do it, I would love to then go beyond that and have a course on how to write a series, how to write and market a series, which, so you would have that original course of like, this is how to develop your idea, how to finish the novel. And that might even come along with like a, I don't know if I would call it an incubator, but like a small group that would be like, okay, we're going to start your novel here and we're going to carry you through and like have updates on how your book is going, with a small group for that. So I do have some ideas for that for sure. And then later having a course that's a much bigger course for how to write and market a series, because I feel like that's the strongest, 100% strongest way to make a really good living as an indie author, is to either write a series or write a series of connected genre type books. Like if you were writing psychological thrillers, maybe they're not sharing characters, but you can market them and brand them as like a set. And so that would go really deep into how do you write character arcs across series? What types of series are there? How do you market them? How do you get things going? So I've got lots of ideas. So I will also be completely re-recording the Publish and Thrive course for August. So hopefully I'm going to make things better and better as we go. And the more I learn about how to be a better teacher and what my students need in the courses, hopefully the better the courses will become. So thank you for bringing that up. I definitely would love to do that. Akshara says, how's book 12 coming along? So I haven't worked on book 12 so much this year yet because I was working on that short story. So it's still stuck at about halfway through the rough draft. I had really had big hopes of finishing it in January, and we are now into February and it's not finished, and now we're going to be moving. So my hope is to finish the rough draft of the book before the end of Q1, and then at that point start with the edits. So it's slower than I had intended, and I'm trying not to be completely panicked and sad about it, but we're hanging in there and it's coming along. It's going to be really great. I keep getting more and more ideas for it. It's just, man. Then I have a funny question from CJ that says, would you rather go to the supermarket wearing a green leprechaun hat or a pair of fairy wings? CJ, I would love to wear the fairy wings. In fact, there may have been times in my life where I have gone to the supermarket wearing something funny like fairy wings or some kind of specific like ears of some kind, because it does happen. But probably, I don't think I've ever worn a leprechaun hat, but I do have like one of my favorite photos of George in my whole life is when we were in Vegas to get married. We were at this like kind of just like, I don't know, just like a general store or something. And they had this huge cowboy hat, not a leprechaun hat, but it was like a foam cowboy hat that was red and yellow. And it's just, he has kind of a tiny head. And so it was this giant hat. So yeah, that made me, your question made me think of that and it made me smile. Taryn says, with the yearly tarot card draw, what happens when it's a reverse for the month, like reverse 4 of Pentacles, for example? So I did see that some people had moved, had talked into a different channel about this. And I will say the same thing that some of them said is like, some people do not read reverse tarot cards. So some people just turn them up right. So with Tanya, you'll see she doesn't reverse read. So she doesn't say like, she just sees 4 of Pentacles and she reads it for how she intuitively interprets it for that place, but she doesn't do a reversed 4 of Pentacles. And so that's the way she taught me to read tarot, is to never like turn them upside down and stuff like that. But a lot of people do reverse them and turn them upside down. One of the best explanations that I heard of reverse tarot is that a lot of times it doesn't mean like it's a negative side of it. What it often means is that if the 4 of Pentacles is more about things outside of you, but if it's reversed, it's talking about something very personal to you, like something internal for you, like an emotional side or something that you need to learn. Yeah, like internal energy. Thank you for the way you put that, Ale. So when it comes to 4 of Pentacles, that can often mean that you're feeling safe or stable and secure. But when it's reversed, you need to think about how does that make you feel for you as an individual? Because what it could mean for you is that you've been having feelings of scarcity or lack, that you've been feeling like you're scared you're not going to have enough money, and that it's time for you to, or stability. It doesn't have to necessarily be money, or it could be that you don't feel like you're making as much leeway in your career, or that sort of scarcity, like there's not enough to go around. And so when you see it reversed, that could mean like this is really a limitation that you've got, like a limiting belief that you need to work on. It could mean something like that, of that sort of internal thing that you need to work on. That's sometimes how I would take it. Brooke says, I just received the author print copy of my story from draft to digital. What is your process for going through a print copy before approving it for distribution? So exciting, Brooke. Oh my gosh, I saw a picture of it in our writing community photo. So that's very, very exciting. Congratulations. So for me, I just always, it's like you have to read through things 1,000 times, right? So when you get your print copies back, double check, have somebody else check, especially everything on the outside, like all those blurbs. It's so easy to miss things when it's your own blurb and your own book and you're so excited about it. So get somebody else that is good, like it can be anybody in your household or a neighbor or somebody, to go through and look at every little detail of the blurb, go through each little page, make sure, it can be tempting because it takes so long to go through every single page, but go through every single page and make sure that the page numbers are in the right place. If you have the time to just read back through the book one more time, sometimes you'll catch typos that you didn't catch when it was digitally on your computer. So I find that to be helpful too. But the main thing is just going through every single page and making sure you've got your name where you want it to be. There's no like weird characters or artifacts that are like getting into the middle of the seam. And that's pretty much what I do, is just go through it like that. But that is so exciting, like to finally get your book and be able to hold it. It's the best feeling. I'm very proud of you. Emright said, it might be too late for coffee chat, but would you recommend A5 rings or personal size rings for an everyday carry? I have 4 chic sparrows. One is personal and one is A5. And then I have one Carpe Diem A5. A5 is my favorite, but I wonder for an everyday carry if it's too big. So I think it depends where you're carrying it. If it's going to be in your purse all the time, A5 can get really heavy, but that's still what I do and prefer, because I just feel like personal, I don't have enough space to even write things. And I feel like I'm always pulling things out because I can't write close enough to the rings and things like that. So I feel like if it's going in your purse to go with you to work, or it's going with you out to cafes or anything like that, think about how you're going to use it. If it's just a reference book that you've got all your dates and stuff in, then the personal is what I know. I'm like, it's probably impractical, but I do it anyway. But if it's just like reference for your dates and things like that, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. Now, I did start carrying a Hobonichi Weeks in my purse, which is really small and thin, because I like to keep track of where I'm spending my money. Like when we go to the grocery store, or we go out to eat or something, I will put those things in there. But yeah, what? And then we eat them. She's thinking about groceries. But yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on what exactly you're going to be using it for. But if it's just for reference stuff, I would use the smaller thing. But if it's like for your actual planning, A5 is just worth the heaviness of it, because you need that space. But all right, you guys, that is our coffee chat. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for celebrating my new house with me. Like, when I didn't post anything on my Sarah Cannon Instagram just because I was tired and I only posted in one place. But I literally got something like 1,200 messages from people on Instagram stories saying congratulations on the house. And it's just like, what? I felt so incredibly like just showered with love. And the amount of comments that came in on the Coven in the Facebook group, I've never felt more loved and valued. And I just appreciate you guys so very much. We will have another coffee chat next week. Yes, we will definitely do another coffee chat next week. And then on the 18th, we will not have a coffee chat, but hopefully that weekend I will upload for you guys a full empty house tour. And I will say too, if anybody has like amazing suggestions on things like your favorite espresso maker or coffee maker or any other home goods like pots and pans, or just tips and tricks for where you love to shop for your kitchen or anything like that, please feel free to send those my way, because we're going to be like researching all of that stuff and it's going to be great. And I can't wait to share that with you guys as we go. And I will hopefully have more news on book 12 as we continue on, as well as a new release for you all. And I know I had told you guys that if you had done the scavenger hunt, you were going to be getting a present from me, but then I got COVID and I didn't get a chance to do it. So that now that the story is finished, that will be going out within the next week. So for those of you that did the scavenger hunt for the Spooktacular, you'll be getting an email from me before next Friday. So that is coming. Yeah, I've actually had several people ask if we have like an Amazon wish list or anything like that. So I don't know. I hate to even ask anything from you guys. So just send your happy thoughts and suggestions, and that is good enough for me. You all are very much appreciated. Okay, we will see you next week. Let's talk in Discord. If you're not in Discord, come join us there. We're going to talk about doing a new teleparty or watch party coming up in the next week or so before I move out of here. So I will talk to you guys over there about that. And yes, there will be a new PO box coming. We'll get that set up once I move in over there. So I will keep you guys updated on that as well. And assistants are being interviewed as we speak. So hopefully I'll be introducing you to the new assistant in the next couple of weeks. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Have a great weekend, you guys. I love you. Thank you for being here. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.